You're listening to the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. Here, we'll help you unlock the secrets of entrepreneurship and self-development. This is your host, Alex Quin. I'm a full-stack marketing executive and global keynote speaker. Get ready to get real-world knowledge from top-level entrepreneurs and world-class business leaders.
Hey guys, Randy Zuckerberg here.
Hi everyone, it's Neil Patel, and you're listening to Hustle Inspires Hustle.
This is the motherfucking CEO, Andy Frisella. You're listening to Hustle Inspires Hustle with Alex Quin.
Become an authority and thought leader in your niche. Join a free private community of entrepreneurs and professionals looking to grow their business and optimize their performance. Get easy-to-learn resources and materials that empower your personal and financial success. Easily accessible for free on desktop and mobile app. Go to hustleinspireshustle.com/app to access now. That's hustleinspireshustle.com/app. Enjoy the rest of the episode. What's going on, everybody? This is Alex Quin, and you're listening to the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. On today's episode, we have Jeff Lerner, fellow podcaster and marketer, business owner. What's going on, bro?
I'm just right where I want to be, man. Grateful to be on your show.
Yeah, man. Had a great time jumping on yours. Got a lot of value out of it. Love the way you market yourself. Love the way you present yourself. Thought it would be really cool for our audience to be able to learn from that, to be able to learn from everything you have going on right now. So share a little bit about your story, man.
Yeah, well, again, I appreciate you having me, and I've since I had you on the show, I've become a fan of your podcast, and I appreciate the way you conduct yourself and all the value you put out there. I guess my story, why would anybody want to hear what I have to say, right? So I spent most of my 20s as a musician.
Cool.
I was a jazz piano player and loved everything about it except the money. The hours weren't that great either. I mean, I had to spend, I got home, at 3 or 4 in the morning a few too many times, but mostly it was just a hard grind, living in crappy apartments, trying to, have a life and have relationships. I was married for a time, and it just, everything's really hard when, you're living on an artist salary. And I guess because of that, I was always trying to start businesses. I always I'd actually grown up around money. Like, my parents were successful, and the school I went to, there were a lot of kids with successful parents. And so it was not like I knew what it was like when life wasn't so hard. So it's kind of like I was spoiled. I was like, I don't want it to be this hard all the time. Right. So I was always trying to start businesses. And I should say, but my parents were really they're like, you're going to have to make it on your own. We're not going to, you're not just going to have a carpet rolled out for your whole life. So when I, was in high school, I started trying to start businesses because I knew, and I know your story too. I was not somebody that saw himself spending his life doing a job for somebody else. Right. And, so I started trying to start businesses, and I was, I tried doing some real estate. This is all while I was a piano player. All through my 20s, I tried being a party promoter. I tried having a booking agency for bands. I tried flipping houses. I tried originating mortgages. I just, one thing after another, right? And so finally, when I was 27, I went and borrowed an insane amount of money from the banks that they should never have loaned me, but it was 2006, and the world was kind of insane back then. That was the real estate bubble was expanding, and the Great Recession hadn't happened yet, and the banks would just loan money to anyone with a pulse. So they loaned me hundreds of thousands of dollars to open these restaurants that I had no business trying to operate. I was a jazz musician with no business success. And long story short, 2007, 2008, those failed because the economy crashed. And I was 29 years old in 2008 with $495,000 in debt. $330,000 of it was to the U.S. government, because when you get those type of bank loans, they're called SBA loans. The government guarantees the loans to the bank. So if you default, the government pays the bank, and then the government comes after you for the money. So it wasn't just like owing a bank. I actually literally owed the US Treasury.
It's like owing the mob.
Yeah, it's work. I mean, it's just as bad. Yeah. I mean, owing the US Treasury, that's the same entity that you pay your taxes to. Like when you owe them $330,000, they don't just go away and they don't feel sorry for you and they don't cut you slack. So between that and the leases and the legal fees and the other, there were state taxes and sales taxes and unemployment taxes. Like I learned all the hardest lessons about brick and mortar business ownership, cyclical economics, how absolutely demolished you can get as a small business owner in a recession. And I had the absolute, rock bottom experience financially, ended up getting divorced like that part of my life fell apart too. I mean, it was bad. And that's when I discovered online business. I spent like my last $400 on one of these online training courses that you see that tells you they're going to teach you how some guy made, $10,000 a month working from his beach house in Panama City or, whatever, all these random little stories you hear online, right? Well, I bought like a sucker, bought one of those courses with my last $400, but fortunately it wasn't a sucker course. It was actually a really legitimate training on how to do affiliate marketing. And the combination of the fact that the training was pretty decent, but what I have since learned is that good training is not enough online because there's a million people online trying to learn this business stuff, and very few of them are actually going out and implementing and kicking ass. But for me, the combination of some really good training coupled with a $500,000 motivator and having my wife leaving me and being at the lowest, most depressed, most despondent point in my life, I actually did the work. And for 18 months, I busted my ass 14 hours a day. Pretty much the only thing I did for 18 months was play a few piano gigs and teach myself how to affiliate market online. And sure enough, 18 months later, the debt was paid off, which, 500 grand in 18 months, that got some people's attention, right? I was a success story in that community, and they started using my story as a testimonial and to show what's possible. And because I started to get some attention for it, it gave me a little more of a platform to grow my business. And I started selling education products. And, just as an affiliate, I kind of used my story to grow my business as an affiliate marketer. And in 5 years, I ended up doing about $10 million in commissions. So now my life is totally different, right? From a 29-year-old, $500,000 in debt, broke jazz musician to, I guess I was like a 33-year-old guy who, made $10 million in commissions in 4.5 years. A lot of shit changed. I hope I can say words like the SHIT word.
Oh yeah, bro. We speak freely back here.
All right. Yeah, I never know. But anyway, so then I was like, okay, I've got these skills. I'm clearly pretty good at this whole marketing and lead generation and sales conversion thing. I wonder where I could go from here. Cause and this ties back to where I am now. The most frustrating thing about my experience was in 2010, when I kind of landed on like, I want to be an affiliate for marketing and financial education products because I saw the whole self-education movement and the trend of all these people going to learn online. I started to experience the flip side of that, which is so many people buy these trainings and so few people do what they teach.
Yeah.
And as the affiliate for those trainings, I was making all this money selling these really good education products that I knew were good because I had used them. I didn't sell anything that I didn't use. And both from a marketing education standpoint and also a wealth education, I started buying courses that would teach me what to do with, money now that I had some, right?
Yeah.
And then I would affiliate with those companies and people would buy the courses and they wouldn't do anything. And then 6 months later, I'd get an email from somebody that's like, I want my money back. You rip me off. I'm like, first of all, you didn't buy from me. I'm just an affiliate. Secondly, I hit up the affiliate company and they say, you never even logged in to go through your course. Like you're a perpetual consumer who doesn't implement. And now it's everybody else's fault. And I realized that's actually the norm online. So I got really, really burned out on affiliate marketing. And I said, I'm going to take these skills and I'm going to go service actual business owners who have actual businesses who actually know that it takes money to make money and they're willing to do work. And I started a digital agency and I went and started providing marketing services to businesses. I did that for 6 years. We made the Inc. 5000 multiple times. I did about $30 million in sales in my agency. in the next 5 years. And so now I did 5 years as an affiliate marketer and made 8 figures. I did 5 years as an agency owner and made multiple 8 figures. And finally, I just woke up one day in 2018 and was like, dude, Jeff, you've come so far. There's a power here. And there was nothing really special about you except your hunger and your drive. And the fact that you did stumble into some good training. So why don't you go tell the world about it? And so in 2018, I sold my agency. I was able to exit the agency, sold it to a software company, did pretty well on that. And I started what I'm doing now, which is called Entre-institute, where basically I go out to the world and I say, look, this is what happened for me. These business models, not only are they the same today as they were back when I started them, but they're actually better now because the digital economy just grows by like 40% a year. It's a $3 trillion economy now online. And when I started, it was like 200 billion. So it's way bigger. It's a way bigger pie to get way bigger slices of now, but you got to know how it works. And so at Entre, we just, first of all, we try to inspire people and help people believe that it can be real and it can be real for them. And my best evidence for that is to say, well, look what happened to me. And then we teach them how to do it. And that's been my mission for 2 years now. And it'll hopefully be my mission for the next 40, because I think that the new economy holds more promise and more opportunity for the average person than the old economy ever has. And I want to be the one to tell them about it.
We were talking before we jumped on, you have 2 plaques behind you. You said there were $10 million ClickFunnels plaques?
Yeah. So ClickFunnels gave me these 2 awards because I was able to show them that I had 2 different online sales funnels that each one produced over $10 million in revenue.
That's great. And do you just drive traffic to these ClickFunnels from Facebook and Instagram? Do you come in from the Google side, the YouTube side?
Yeah. So at the time I got these, these awards were both based on work that was done through, up until, I guess, 2019. And no, none of it actually came in socially. That's the thing. So I was a marketer online for 10 years, and before I ever had an Instagram profile, or before I ever had any sort of a following on any of these platforms. And I didn't actually start going onto social and, putting out content and, creating a podcast and all that until like 2 years ago when I started Entre, because I was like, it doesn't matter how successful I've been. Nobody's going to listen to me if they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So, there's certain businesses that require visibility. And so I went hard into that. But no, most of the revenue from these I generated with either paid Google search ads, some, what's it called? With like Taboola and Outbrain native ads. I ran native ad campaigns. I ran Bing search ads. I advertised on, small business websites through the Google Display Network, places like American Express and Bank of America, places where business owners congregated so that I could generate leads for my agency.
Yeah.
It was all more traditional, behind the curtain, paid internet marketing stuff. My social strategy is actually very new.
Were you running the agency digitally? Like I'd run mine digitally. For a while I had several offices, but it wasn't really necessary after a while. And after I changed my business model, how did you operate that?
So I did have a physical office, which actually is upstairs from where I am right now. I had about 4,500 square feet right up there. And at one point we had over 50 employees, but the vast majority of it was, I would say it was about 2/3 sales and 1/3 support and fulfillment. But we had a very specific type of agency. And if I did it over again, I don't know that I would have done it this way. And if I had done it a different way, I probably never would have wanted to sell it. But it was actually a very high churn, high cost, high headache model that I ran, because we were selling lots of low ticket subscription products. So what I did was I built a site called Smallbusiness.info that, I paid $5,000 for the domain or whatever. And it's still out there. I don't do much with it now, and I would run tons of paid ads through Smallbusiness.info. See, it's nice that I don't have the business anymore, so I don't mind telling everybody how I did it, because
Yeah.
I would run tons of ads through Smallbusiness.info, and on Smallbusiness.info, I would offer a free scan tool where people can analyze their business's online presence. And so I'd generate this report that said, you have this rank in the search engines, you have this many errors on the different directories out there, you know, City Search and Manta and Hot Frog and White or Yellow Pages and Yellow Book. There's all these data points online, and usually they're all messed up for the average business. So I would show them all the problems they had that were costing them exposure on the Google map and in the search engines. And then I would basically, you know, capture their phone number, and I'd have a sales rep call them and sell them into a subscription to fix all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we, over 6 years, we actually provided that service to over 10,000 businesses. So it was a lot of transactions happening, and then a lot of support, because when you have that many, you know, we would have around 2,500 business owners on a subscription at any given time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people calling in to find out what's happening.
Yeah. And expecting a huge ROI on a small investment.
$200 and $250 a month, and they expect you to solve all their problems.
That was my problem when I first started my UADV, being my agency. I opened up a few offices. I thought that was the move. If I have established offices, I scale out, you know, more people do more stuff. And it was a good model. It works for a lot of people. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but for what I wanted, it wasn't what I wanted. And a lot of people in the space were showing me how they did it themselves. Like, you know, being at home or being at your office, wherever you want to be. If you're moving digitally, you can move digitally. So then I switched it up. I went from having 30 clients that I was charging a certain amount of money to having 6-7 clients only at any given time as an agency. In the meantime, for the moment, right? We just decided to find the ideal clients and charge what we want to charge. So our retainers are at $10,000 a month to start on any given platform. And of course, with that has to come a great ad budget. We concentrate on building omni-channel strategies, and it's really fun making people money online, especially great businesses. It's really cool to see that you implemented different strategies to grow everything that you were doing, and you saw the value in each platform, because a lot of people ask, well, where should I advertise? Online advertising doesn't work. I think that platform doesn't work. And a lot of the time they're saying that with no data to back it up. They just say they're repeating what they hear somewhere else, and they've actually never tested it out. Like Bing works, Yahoo search, Google search works, YouTube works. They're all search engines. Giphy is a search engine. You can find anything you want on there. Hundreds of billions of views on everything there. It's just, you have to choose where your people are. Once you find where your people are and how you got to talk to them, that's how you sell $10 million with a ClickFunnels shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, it all works if you work hard enough at learning how to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, like in anything, like, and you were saying it before, like in the information space, when you purchase a product in the information space, you can't expect for that person to make you successful, or the community that comes with it to make you successful. They're giving you a blueprint, and they're helping you skip many steps that maybe they didn't have, but it's up to you to actually do it. Kind of like the course you bought. You bought a course, you spent your last $400 or $500 on a course. Could have been shit, but it wasn't. And it led to one thing, that led to another, that led to many other things. And that's what people need to take away from online learning right now, because I know it's difficult for a lot of people to adapt, especially students, college students, high school students, to adapt. And all these online communities are available for us to be able to learn from other experts in our field, not just in our area, but ultimately it's up to our daily discipline of getting up at the right time, doing our work, being consistent, following up, and building a team out, or collaborating with other people. You don't have to do it by yourself.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in real quick to tell you about how to train yourself in organization, balancing your priorities, developing successful habits, and most importantly, having a better mindset. I'm giving free access to resources and materials on business management and self-development. Go to hustleinspireshustle.com/app to get access. That's hustleinspireshustle.com/app. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at Hustle Inspires Hustle. Okay, let's get back into the episode.
Yeah, it really is. And to that point, I mean, again, my desperation and my dire straits, you know, everybody responds to stress differently. You know, my response to stress is to just start digging. Like, I'll dig out whatever I got to do. You know, I will obsess over it 16 hours a day. and I will work all 16 until the problem is solved, even if it takes 5 years. It's just my MO. So when I got into this community, and I was like, the best thing about the community, like literally the thing that saved me in that, or that changed my life, was the fact that the community allowed people to self-report their earnings, their affiliate commissions. So you have thousands of people in this community, and anyone that's making any money is actually sending in screenshots and sending in, receipts and proof that they got paid. And so the company actually published a leaderboard of like their top 20 affiliates, but people in different programs, but as long as you could prove your income, they would publish you on the leaderboard. And so I went in. Remember, I'm $495,000 in debt, and I'm doing the math. I knew it was 2008. So the Great Recession had already happened. The foreclosure wave had already started. So the banks were backed up. The government was backed up. I knew I had some time. It's not like they were going to come take my car in 3 months, but eventually they'd get around to it, right? So the way I did the math, I was like, look, if I can pay off this debt in 2 years, I'll be okay. Now, as a jazz musician, to say, okay, go make $500,000 in 2 years, that's still a tall order, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot better. Like, at least, if somebody said you got to do it in 2 months, I don't know what I would have done. At least I felt like I had 2 years. So I went and looked at the leaderboard and said, okay, how much money do I have to make? Like, where do I need to be on this leaderboard in order to be making enough money to pay off $500,000 in 2 years? And I figured, my advertising cost as an affiliate was anywhere between 20 and 40% of my revenue. So for me to make $30,000 a month, which is roughly what I thought I needed to make, I was like, really, I need to make more like 40 or 50 in gross commissions. Well, looking at the leaderboard, that meant that I had to be roughly in the top 5 in the whole community. So I joined this community on day one, brand new, no experience, no team, no reason to think that I'm going to do any better than anyone else, except I have an all or nothing unconditional demand that I must be in the top 5 or else I won't solve my problem and I shouldn't even bother trying. Well, I found out later this community had 40,000 members. So I had to be 1 in 8,000 or else I wasn't going to make it. Do you know how amazing that is? If somebody puts a gun to your head and said, run a 4-minute mile or you're going to die, you'll run a 4-minute mile or you'll die trying, and financially, that was almost the situation I was in. Be in the top 5, make 40 grand a month, or else you're toast and you're going to lose everything. So I did. I was number 3 in the whole community in my 7th month. And I never fell out of the top 5 after that. There's just something that happens when when you've burned all I didn't even burn my boats. My boats were incinerated without my input. Like, my boats were burnt. There was nowhere for me to go back to. And, when it's sink or swim, you just learn to swim.
And it's the cool part about it. And I guess before, when people didn't have the internet, they just started their business. They read magazines, they read the newspaper, maybe they checked on the TV once or twice. But unless they were actually speaking to a bunch of business owners all the time, they wouldn't know all the hardships that we all share, right? As business owners, as entrepreneurs. And I think podcasting, something we both do, and being active online is great. It's a great form of being able to educate yourself and feed yourself with the right information. These days, there's a group and community for absolutely everything. Like, I'm blown away by how many groups there are on social platforms of the randomest things. So it's like, all right, I could actually tap into these communities. I could associate with people in those communities without having to leave my house, right? I could talk to them. I could learn about them. I could learn the do's and don'ts. They could teach me the ropes. We could do it all online. And most of the time, those people have great things around them. A lot of great things are going on. So if you're adding yourself to the mix and you're bringing something to the table, in just a matter of a few weeks, you might be finding yourself working on some pretty cool stuff. You just got to go find it. So I think if I could leave you guys with anything, it's be open to speaking to other people. The way Jeff and I connected on social, we jumped on each other's podcasts. We had great things to talk about and great things to share with you. You might be a little bit back in time on what we're doing. Maybe you're 10 years back and you're where we were 10 years ago. Allow yourself to work with other people. Don't feel stupid, like you're going to ask stupid questions, and don't feel like you're going to waste somebody's time or like nobody's going to take you seriously. I guarantee you there's people out there that will take your passions and your dreams and your ideas seriously because they share those same dreams, passions, and ideas. So connect with these people and find them, and don't make any excuses. Like, they're there right now. The second you stop listening to this podcast and you exit the app on wherever you're listening, go find a community of people that do something you love to do and just get your feet wet. What do you think, Jeff?
I could not agree more. I mean, for my own experience, it was because there was a community that came with the training.
Yeah.
That allowed me to thrive. You know, it's one thing to look at data that goes, oh, I need to achieve this result, but like the belief has to come from somewhere, and belief comes from relationships and mentors and role models. And the community the fact that there was a leaderboard, it wasn't like, oh, I got to be in the top 5 or the top 10. It's, oh, wait, 5 other people did it.
Correct. Yeah.
That showed me that I could do it. I don't think they're superheroes. They're just people. So that means I could do it too. And the fact that I was able to actually connect with some of those people. I went to a live event in March, 4 months later, which was my, when I got home, April of 2009, that was my breakout month. I went from like making like a couple grand in a month to making like, I think April I made like 25, like my income 10x, because I went to this event and I met the top people in the community. And I remember having this epiphany. It was really silly, but it was powerful for me. I'm 6 feet tall. All the top earners in the company, just by coincidence, they were all like 5'9", 5'10", maybe. I just happened to be a little bit taller than like everybody on the lead, except for one guy. There was one guy that was like 6'3", but almost everybody on the leaderboard I was taller than. And I was like, I'm taller than these guys. They're mortals after all. They're not 8-foot giants, you know? And as silly as that is, to be an inch taller than somebody, it humanized them. And it made me realize I could do it too. And you're right. Now you don't have to fly to a hotel to go meet like-minded, successful people.
They're all on here right now, man. There's, if you have an idea, there's probably thousands of people or hundreds of people in a group somewhere on Facebook or LinkedIn or on a Twitter list that do what you love to do. And you could just jump in there and ask them questions. You don't have to try to bring anything specific to the table. A lot of these people are open to learning, right? Like they just want to know, like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, how was your experience? And
they want to help too. A lot of people like to help. Here's the one thing I'll say, because information and expertise is now so ubiquitous and there's a group for everything. And the fact there's a group for everything means there's people coming into a group all the time asking for everything.
Yeah.
You know, and so the one thing I will say is that the successful people, the experts that you really want to learn from, they're not greedy pigs. They're not going to say, well, you know, it's $10,000 for a phone call. But what they are wanting to make sure, their one point of discernment is usually, are you serious and are you in it for the long haul? So my experience has been that a lot of times you'll go into something and you're like ignorance on fire and you want to get all this information and you like want to go get on the phone with the top guy or whatever. And he's like, I don't know you. So maybe he doesn't reply right away. Or maybe he says, well, what, maybe if he's good, he'll probably put the ball back in your court and say, well, before we get on the phone, tell me what you've done. And all they're really doing is they're trying to measure whether or not you're serious and you're in it for the long haul. There's people that I asked to come on my podcast when I was brand new. And my podcast is only like 5 months old. But there's people that I asked to come on like on day one that told me flat no, or they just didn't respond. Well, now I've published about 70 episodes. I don't know, 60 or 70. We've recorded almost 100. They've been well received. I have some good ratings. I have professional looking podcast artwork. Like I just look like a little more mature podcast now. And so I go back to some of these people and they either say, oh yeah, you know, before I wasn't sure if you were for real, but now I see you're for real. Okay, I'll do it. Or they go, oh, this looks really cool. Hell yeah, I'd love to be on it. They don't even remember that I asked them 5 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Because when accomplished, successful people see that you're serious and you're committed and you're doing the work, you immediately differentiate yourself from 99% of the people that are coming to them basically wanting something for nothing that they're not even going to go implement anyways.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, as somebody who does get approached now from people wanting help, it gets really damn old giving help to people that aren't going to go take your advice regardless. So I will. Sometimes I'll say, you know what, I'm going to wait and see what this person does. So don't be discouraged if you're trying to get help and the attitude seems to be, I'm going to wait and see what you do. Respond to that by standing apart and showing your worth and showing your merit by actually doing and staying around and giving whatever value you have to offer to build up credit in the account before you try to make a withdrawal by asking for help.
I'm with that because I deal with it a lot, and I could relate with what you said about podcasting or like somebody reaching out multiple times. Like I remember us blasting everybody when we first came out with the podcast to try to talk to people. We tried in many different forms. We had no idea what we were doing. And then it got to a point where we didn't even have to ask people anymore. We were getting a bunch of requests and now we couldn't even keep up. So we had to build a system of how to just process every single request that was coming in because it was nearly impossible to say yes to everybody. But then we said, all right, what are the right qualities or the right things that we're looking for what we want? So we created a process for it. And what did we do? We went to other people that were doing it too. We asked friends, we asked people that were in the space. And then we just took all of that wisdom and put it into our specific situation, which is ultimately what education is. You read a book, you listen to a podcast, you watch a webinar, whatever it is that you do, those people may be doing something that you do, but it's not exactly in your situation. So what you have to do is you have to take all that wisdom and all that experience that other people are giving you and apply it specifically to your situation and then get advisement from everybody. That's what we usually do in these communities and any communities that we're part of. We share our experience, we share how we're doing things, and then people get curious and they say, oh, well, you know what? I do it like this and I do it like that. And then you read their process, you get a little bit of wisdom of what they're doing, and then you're able to stay relevant because in a digital world in 2020, 2021, 2022, as the years start to progress, technology gets better and better, and there's more ways of automating your day-to-day so you can have more time to think. So you don't always have to be building something or following up with something or speaking with somebody, but you have more time to innovate and you have more time to move forward. So, Jeff, I want to let everybody know right now that they have to go straight to the website, hustleinspireshustle.com/podcast, to find your landing page where they're going to find your episode. They're going to find your social media links. They're going to find you on Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere that you may be linked. Is there anything else you want to share with us today so we could add to those show notes?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually put a landing page together for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody will go to millionairesecrets.com, that's the name of our show. I've got a book coming out. It's the name of my interview series on YouTube. But millionairesecrets.com/Alex Q. Probably hard to figure out where we came up with that, right? millionairesecrets.com/Alex Q. You can actually download. I have a free book that I like to give away. It's called The Millionaire Shortcut. It's kind of what I did early on to, as quickly as possible, get a significant monetary result. They can also from there subscribe to my podcast and also watch my YouTube channel where I have almost 400 free training videos on my YouTube.
Yeah. I
like to think that my YouTube channel can help somebody make money or build a business and be successful more than a Harvard education that they'd have to pay $250,000 for. So at least go check it out and see if I'm telling the truth. But millionairesecrets.com/Alex Q, please.
That's millionairesecrets.com/Alex Q. You'll find our episode on the Millionaire Secrets podcast with Jeff Lerner. Guys, this is Hustle Inspires Hustle. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. We have 95 plus countries tuning in right now, and we're super excited to hear about what you guys want to learn about and what kind of people you want on the podcast. So feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to our guests and let them know how much you enjoyed the episode. This is Alex Quin, Jeff Lerner.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. I'd appreciate it if you could share, leave a review, and subscribe to the show. Visit hustleinspireshustle.com/app for more free resources, event invitations, and online courses to empower your personal and financial success. Learn about marketing, finances, business development, branding, strategic partnerships, and much more. If you're looking to further connect, check me out on Instagram or LinkedIn at Alex Quin. That's AlexQuin. See you on the next episode.